Hello everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Hello. So welcome to the last and the final day of the Web Development Bootcamp. First of all, I'll like Adamya sir to brief us all about the hackathon that is upcoming. Then we'll get started with today's event. Over to Adamya sir. Hello. I'll request Adamya sir to please brief on the hackathon that is upcoming. Hackmole. I guess Adamya sir is not available right now. So moving forward to the event, I'll invite Shubham to give a brief introduction about the JavaScript.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Anubhav. Hi. I'm audible, Anubhav?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay, okay. Okay, so the message is
Hello, Anubhav. Hello. Am I audible?
Hello, yes, sir,
yes.
you are audible.
Okay, great. Anubhav, I think firstly, it's a request to all the attendees. Please share this in your class groups. Anubhav, when are we going to start? Like,
Just in 2 to 3 minutes. Like when
okay,
you.
sure. I
Yes,
understand.
sir.
Guys, it's a request to all the attendees. Please tell all your friends, your colleagues, your classmates that we're going to start today's session. And this is the last session. It would be on very important topic like giving life to your website and all. And it's a request that they should join soon. We'll be starting very soon.
So meanwhile, could you please brief us about the hackathon?
Yes, Anubhav, I'll be doing that. Just 1 minute. Actually, I'm trying to open my Discord. Something's happening. All right, guys, I'd be sharing my screen. Just a second.
Hello, Adam sir. You are on, I guess.
Yeah, guys, I was talking to her. So just a second.
Okay.
Guys, is my screen visible? Can you confirm anyone?
Yes, sir.
So, all right. Hello, everyone. This is Abha Mishra, the DSC lead, and we'll be talking about the hackathon that has been planned for you all. So that's why I've just simply opened the website. You all must have gone through this website. So, firstly, let's talk about what is a hackathon. A hackathon is kind of an event where people come together, like in form of teams. We have even a provision for lone wolves forming a team together at our Discord server, and they together for the stipulated time in which the hackathon runs, they together make they together put their innovative ideas into a form of project. A project is anything but the implementation of the idea which they have into a kind of real world application that could be used. We'll discuss more about it. First, let's see the website, and it will give you much more clarity what I'm talking about. So our hackathon is named as Hackmole 2.0. It will be from 29 December to 31st January, which is like day after to 31st January. It will be 36-hour long virtual hackathon by DSC and NIT Jalandhar. By virtual, we just mean that we'd be having all the events and conducted via Discord server. We'd be like the mentors would be live there, even the organizers, and all the problems would be solved by a server. So it's very necessary for all of you to join the server. I'll even show you the server. I'll just share that screen also. But first, let's start and talk about this hackathon. As it is, as you all know, our DSC and IT Jalandhar, it's the accumulation of all the events that we have had in the week of learning, or you could say month of learning. That was January. We had our Android study jams. We had Explore ML. We had GitHub workshop. and we are concluding with this web development bootcamp. So let's look at the rules firstly. जो भी आप teams वगैरह form करोगे, it would be between 2 to 5 members as listed here. The projects must be built entirely during the duration of the hackathon. That is, जो भी आप बना रहे होगे with innovative ideas, it should be built during the duration of 29 January to 31st. Then each participant must adhere to the code of conduct. It is given in this link. You can just look at that. Hackers can work on any technical domain. आप किसी भी चीज पे बना सकते हो project. Like it could be an Android app, it could be a website, it could be anything. So, and we'll be seeing the depth folio page also. Just on 1 minute, we'll be going that there also. Then, as these are all normal things, submission would be, there would be proper judges who would be reviewing it all, and you can ask the doubts at our Discord server. So these are the events that have been conducted. We have been conducting Android Study Jam, then Explore ML session, Intro to UI UX, all this. This competitive programming and interview experiences hasn't been conducted. It is coming soon as listed here. Then simply let's look at the schedule which has been planned for the hackathon. So we'll be introduction, like whatever I'm like telling you right now, introducing to all of these things. This all would be done again. So we will have introduction to hackathon and everything. Then team formation will take after that, which would happen on our Discord server. Then on day 2, we will be having an opening ceremony, which would be a formal thing. Then we would begin with the hackathon. Then there would be round 1 evaluation, which would be of your ideas and all what you're planning to do. Then like this would be anything like resume building with merge interns. Merge interns is kind of a foundation which would help you to give you an idea about how to build great resumes and all. Then fun events, these would be happening, like you could say we would be having all these things coordinated by Discord server. Maybe you get play games and all. So then we'd be organizers AMA, like ask organization mentor about anything and everything. There would be mentors who would be present here. You can see the list of mentors down. Like I'll be showing you one. We would be there and would be helping you in every way and any way possible. And then round 2 evaluation, which would be further like in the flow of events. Then how to present a great hack. This is just about how you can present your whatever you're building and all. It would be based on that. Then last thing would be the dev folio submission ends, which would be your project or anything you're making during the hackathon. So this was the sum up of all the 3 days, which we would be covering all these things. Then like prizes and all are given there. You can go through all it. It's all on our website, hackmole.tech. The link you can find on even the NIT website. I'll be sharing with you in the group also. Then you can see these are special prizes and all. Then we have the sponsor list, and this is the list of our team who would be coordinating all these things, and the list of mentors who would be there during the hackathon. So these are all the frequently like asked questions which I've already answered, I think, like all of this. Now I'll be presenting one more screen to you, the Hackmole website screen. Just a second, guys. All right. Can anyone confirm? Anubhav, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Hello. All right. So, guys, you can see it again. The same kind of information, like mostly about what be the prices and all. Then participant submission, all this. Like participation would be open to anyone. The size of team we have already discussed from 2 to 5 members. It's totally free. Nothing. It costs nothing. Or if you don't even have, like, it's all hackathons are all about participation and experience gaining. Even if you don't have a team, we would do something. We would have a platform on our Discord server. We get a team of other people who have similar interests or who are of the same domain. And even the idea, like, you can come up with great ideas working together, brainstorming and all. So what type of application you can make? You can make literally anything. It's written right here. Anything with your favorite tech stack. We have something for everyone. So creative and come up with something innovative. All right. So like prizes and all, then FAQs again. We have covered all of this, submissions and all. This is the submissions page. Like right now there are 0 because the event haven't been started yet. So I think I've covered almost everything regarding. All right, guys. So I think I've covered almost everything. Let's see in the chat box if there are any other. Should the project be on social? No, there's no limitation for how the project or what would be the idea behind the project. You can have anything. Just it could be any of the problem, any problem. Like Utkarsh said, problem पर होनी जरूरी है. Sarthak, it's like like problem in literal sense is not any problem कि यार आपको solution find करना है. You have to kind of be innovative. आपको कुछ भी चीज ही लग रही है, like अगर आप कुछ भी ऐसा बनाते हो like a cliche thing, तो उसका उसका उतना महत्व नहीं होगा, and it would be just according to that. अगर आपका प्रोजेक्ट कोई ऐसी पर्टिकुलर प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करता है, as we've always talked about this development and all, why are we learning this? Learning a web development, learning Android development. It is not just to build apps and websites, it's to build something which would help the society, which would help the world in any way possible. तो main हमारा जो intrinsic goal होता है behind any hackathon is to like, अब मैं judges के perspective से बता रहा हूँ, so that people come up with great ideas and implement them, and we would be guiding them in how to implement those ideas, and those ideas could do some transformation in the world. वो कोई problem solve करे, that's the main goal of an hackathon. But you can come up with anything whichever you find suitable. But अगर वो किसी problem statement के base हो, या फिर आप कोई ऐसी problem solve कर रहे हो जो exist करती है, तो it would be great, and उस हिसाब से judge भी होगा आपका project, या फिर जो भी आप hack implement करते हो in the lane, like in the language hack. So all of this opinions will be judgment. Yeah, like guys, हमारे actually इस hackathon का level भी easy रखा गया है. Easy in the sense of what key projects won't be very high level. There are a lot of high level hackathons conducted all around the world. Like our team member here, Utkarsh and all, even Anubhav, they have been participating in a lot of these great hackathons and you could say events like that, which are on grand global level. And those are a very high level. Like they have projects, literally great, big projects people are making. And during this small time frame, that's a different thing. This is just a beginner level hackathon in which our judgment criteria would be like whatever you guys make. That's what. Like हम expect नहीं करते कि आप Google बना दो, आप कुछ भी बना दो ऐसा. हम ये expect करते हैं आपको you make something जो भी आपने सीखा है, especially during the week of learning, during all these Android study jams, Web Bootcamp, कि आप अपनी knowledge जो भी आपने सीखी उसका कुछ ना कुछ एक तरीके से उसको implement करो. That's all we want. अब ये आपके लिए एक बहुत सा experience रहेगा. Can we take part as a team as well as individual competitor? Actually, Sarthak, as I have just said before, the entry for the hackathon is like there should be a team of 2 to 5 members that has been clearly listed there. So, as an individual, अगर आप participate करना चाहते हो, अब आओ. There's even I'll just show you the Discord server. There's just a separate channel for team making. You could say. I think it's named as team up. आप वहां जाओ and you are like आप for example आप एक Android developer हो, you want the Android developer to work with you on a similar project or on any idea, like आपके सभी idea भी नहीं है but आप team up करो उनके साथ and you guys together work on the project. That's what we want. Actually the teamwork is very important. अभी आपको लगता है आप एक कोई प्रोजेक्ट खुद से बना लोगे because आप अभी उतना grand level पे सोच नहीं रहे हो. Like कोई भी आप बड़ी कंपनी देख लो, it's a huge project which has been subdivided into multiple parts which are handled by different members. Together they build something great. That's what teamwork is all about, and that's what we want you to also learn. How will we upload our project, sir? As I shown you the Devfolio page, everything we provide here, we will discuss everything. You just be active on a Discord channel. Even on day one, as we have listed from 16 hours to 18 hours, that is 4 to 6, I suppose. It's listed on our hackathon website. You would be like whatever I'm telling you right now, ये सब कुछ हम cover करेंगे, and there would be separate upload link like present there जहाँ present कर पाओगे. As Utkarsh and Anubhav have said, like आप आराम से अभी patience रखो, थोड़ा सा आपको सब कुछ clarity मिलेंगे, और आप Discord server जरूर join करो, वहाँ पे सब कुछ almost we have covered all these doubts, everything, and do visit our website also, that is hackmode.net. No issues, Anubhav.
Yes, thank you.
Anything? Yeah. Anubhav, anything else? You just tell me. All right, Kabir. Sorry, guys. I was pretty late to the party. Really sorry for that. There
No
was some
problem,
things I was
sir.
doing.
Over to Shubham to start with the introduction to JavaScript part. Shubham, can you please share your screen and start with the course of the...
Yeah. Okay, Anubhav, I'm starting. Am I audible?
Yeah, Shubham, properly.
Yeah, okay. So, hi and welcome everyone again. And bravo, you guys made it to the last day. And so today we are like starting with the final part of our front end development, that is the JavaScript. And JavaScript is not limited to only front end; it's also there in the back end. And it's one of the most interesting, this programming language or scripting language, you would say. And so let's start without like wasting further. So my screen is visible.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so JavaScript. So JavaScript is one of the most popular programming language in the world. It's all, we've also called it as a scripting language, and there is a much difference between a normal language and scripting language. And I'll tell you what exactly the difference is. So before that, let's see where JavaScript is actually used. JavaScript is used in websites, web applications, server side application using Node.js. But this JavaScript is not limited to all only these uses. Nowadays it is also used in some frameworks like React Native, and also in the server side like Node.js. And this language is powering up some really cool electronics devices, IoT devices, microcontrollers. So this is something like really cool language. And this language is like so old, and it's still valid today. So there is something with this language. And it is a scripting language, like already told you. So what's the difference between this and other programming language, right? So you guys might have familiar with, you may be familiar with C or C++. However, some of you might not be familiar with this. But if you guys are like familiar, you guys might have seen that in C++, if you compile your program, there is a executable file created, and later on that file is executed. So but this doesn't happen in case of the scripting language. Your code is compiled and run at the same time, and that's why it is also called as the scripting language, right? So before that, I would like to ask you people, how many of you people already using VS Code? I think a lot of people, you guys might be using VS Code in the project, right? So there is extension in VS Code which is known as live server. So I would request you all to install this live server extension. Have you guys installed this live server? Guys, confirm in the chat box if you have already, or if you haven't. Okay, no sir. Okay, but I'll be showing you like how to do this. Why we do need this live server extension. You guys might be doing this project with this HTML and CSS. So every time you guys might be refreshing your web browser after every change, right? And saving and this refreshing your browser. But this is quite tedious sometimes when you are like developing some really big project, or you need some you need to change, look at the changes every bit of code. So at that time we need a live server. It is like instant, it shows us the instant change at our browser. So you guys can download this at this here you can see this extension. Just click on that and search for the live server. So as you click on this, I've already installed, so it's showing me not to install it. So here you can click and directly install it. So if you guys like installed, you can type in the chat box so that we can proceed. Okay. I'm showing it again. Here you have this file search and git debug, and this last icon is of this extensions. As you click on this, you will find this here a search bar, and just simply type live server. If you even write this live, it will come here. So just click on live server and click install. So I hope guys you install this live server. So I'm proceeding further. So there is just create this simple this our HTML two live servers are there. No, you have to just install this, the simple one, the first one, this live server by Ritwik Day. Yeah, we can skip it now. So So further, like how to include JavaScript to our project. This is like very simple. There are like two ways of including the JavaScript in your folder. Is one is the inside HTML file, and second is creating different your JavaScript file. Just like this, in case of like your CSS file, you can like do same in HTML file and also create the different file. But creating a different file is a really good practice. Sometimes we want to use that file multiple times. So in that case, having a different file is quite handy, and our task is not that tedious. So to include inside this HTML file, you have to just in body tag you have to write this. Sorry, in case of including in the HTML file, you have to in head you have to just write the script tag, and inside this you can start writing your JavaScript, right? But now in case of like creating the different file, like we have created already a different file, and now we want to include it in our HTML file. So inside the body tag, you can write this way: script src, your file location, and close your script tag, right? So here we'll see. Yeah, here this way. So inside the body tag, we can like write script src, and this my intro.js is my JavaScript file here. So you can include it this way, right? So now like directly starting, and I'm going on my live server. Just click on this go live, and you will get your live server. Once again. So yeah, guys, you can see it's nothing here, as my HTML page does not contain anything, so it's blank here. And now what we have to do is we can like. So uh, before that, I would like to tell you. We guys know about the printing messages in our different languages. If you guys are like familiar with C or C++, you guys might be knowing that there is cout function to print your message. So same happens in case of this JavaScript as well, but instead of using this cout or printf function, we have this console log method, right? And inside this, we write our message, and our message gets printed on our console, right? So I'll show you how we do that. So I've already written this so that we'll take less time in writing. So let me uncomment this. Save. So here, but we don't see anything. So where is our JavaScript output? So guys, for every language we have compiler, but in case of JavaScript we don't see any other compiler. So where is our compiler? The answer is in browser. There is JavaScript engine at every browser that is running and compiling this JavaScript code, and every browser contains that. For the Chrome, it's V8 JavaScript engine, and I think Mozilla is also using this V8 engine. And to look at that output, we can use our developer tools. So you can click this these options button, and if you go to this more tools, you have to click on this developer tools. As you click on that, you'll find this console here, right? Like you can see this hello world is printed here, right? So let me comment it again. So now, as you guys know that in every language there are variables. We need variables in programming, right? Variables are key part of this programming, every programming language. So same we have in case of JavaScript, but are of three types: var, let, and const. And these behave like really differently, guys. And these variable really confuse even working developers. The JavaScript messages are so confusing sometimes that if you don't understand the concept behind it, you won't you would never know what exactly those error messages are trying to tell you. So these are like where, let, and const. I'll show you that what exactly difference between them and how they are different. So the main difference about in them is the bar of scope. There is difference only in all of them is of scope, right? And do remember this word scope, right? We'll use this word again. And as I already told, this JavaScript engine works on this V8 engine. And one hint I'm giving here you about where is a globally scoped or functional locally scoped, right? And about this variable, don't get confused if you don't get you are not getting it. I'll show you how these are different, right? And another thing about this let and const, earlier there wasn't this let and const existing, but after this AS6 version of JavaScript that came in 2015 or 16, so they introduced this let and const, and these are like really important. And after showing you this practical difference between where, let, and const, I'll tell you what exactly the best practice is for a developer to use, right? So moving on, I'm uncommenting this code here. I'll tell you like what exactly this console.log does, right? It prints the message, or if you like type here the variable name, it will print the variable name. But here I'm doing is I'm trying to print the variable value even before declaring it, right? And you guys might see this concept. What is this? Like, I haven't declared this variable, and even I'm trying to access that variable. In other languages, if you are like doing a C or C++, you might guys have seen that if you don't declare your int variable or and try to access that variable, it will give you some error. So let us see what happens in case of this JavaScript. What kind of error or what thing will you get? So right, I'm just trying to I just saved it, and let's see what happens. What is this? We get this undefined. So is it an error? No, it's not an error, right? So what is it? What exactly is undefined mean? Does it mean it wasn't able to access that variable? No, it was able to access the variable, but it wasn't getting that value, right? So isn't it different than other languages? Like you are like accessing that variable even before declaring it. So that's the beauty and or peculiar thing about JavaScript, right? So it is able to access it, but it don't have that 107 value, right? And why it happens? Because the var value is stored at some other memory context, and we are not going into that deep. They're just dealing with how they are different and why and how differently they are behaving, right? So let me comment this code again, and we'll see this code, right? So here what I did, I declared it earlier, this var x107 value, and I'm trying to print the value. So let us see what happens in this case. So yeah, we are getting as expected 107. So nothing much this difference, or like as expected it's 107, right? So now let me comment this code again. Now we have this another type, this let type, right? So let's try to do same with let, and I'm trying to access this let variable even before declaring it, right? So let us see what happens in this case. So are you guys expecting this to be undefined or some message? So let us see. I won't make it very much. So you guys can see uncaught reference cannot access x before initialization, right? So it is not even able to know this variable. It don't know about this variable because it's not initialized, right? So that's the difference in case of let and where, right? So let me comment this again and try the other way. So here what I'm doing, I'm declaring this x variable let x, and later on I'm in the next line I'm assigning the value to this variable as 1010, and now I'm trying to print this value, right? Let us see what happens in this case. We get 1010. So that means we can, in case of let, we can declare let a variable in the one line and can initialize it later on and can access it later on, right? So it's okay in case of this let, right? So let me comment this again and show you the another example. Here what I'm doing, I'm declaring this let variable here and also assigning this 1010 to the x, right? And in the next line, I'm trying to print the value, right? So let us see what happened in this case. We also get the value in this case also. In this case, that's 1010, as expected. So let me comment this code again. And now we are moving to our last part, that is const type, right? So same I'm trying to do. I'm declaring const later on, but trying to access that const variable earlier, right? So let us see what happens if I do in this case. So we are getting the same error, right? As we got in the case of let, cannot access x before initialization, right? So you guys got one thing, like where is the only when you are able to access variable even before declaring it, right? So but in case of let and const, you don't get this chance, right? So let me comment this again, and let's look at this code. In this case, I declared this x variable here, and later on I tried to assign this value, and now I'm trying to access this value, right? So as the same we did with this let in case of let, right? So let us see what happened in this case. Here you got error, but in case of let you wasn't getting any error. And let us look at what error it is. Uncaught syntax error, missing initializer in const declaration. So that means in case of const, it's more strict. You can't even you have to initialize and declare variable at the same time, right? If you do it differently, it will show you error. So this is the last part. I'll show you how it will behave if I declare and initialize at the same time and try to access it later, right? So let us see. So in this case, it printed this value 9, right? So you guys might be thinking what exactly. So I think you got the overview, or like the main difference of this JavaScript. So right. So guys, which practice is better according to you? What do you think? Like which variable is better? You guys can write in the chat box where let and const. Which one was your favorite, and what do you think like about which we should use? I would like to know from you guys. Let, okay. So guys, I would like to tell you the best practice about it, about using these variables are this let and const are the best practice if you use. In case of where you guys might be getting this undefined, and if you like trying to access an unknown variable, it won't be showing you any other error, or it might be picking some other variable that has the same name, and your code might you won't be getting your exactly your code is, or you might be confused with your own code. So in case of let and const, you will be getting the proper error, and you can track where exactly the bug is. So that's why people prefer to use this let and const in place of this where variable, and that's why it was introduced in the later version, right? So that's all from my side, and now Utkarsh will take you further. Thank you, guys. Over to you, Utkarsh.
Yeah. So hello everyone. Is my voice audible?
Yeah,
Utkarsh,
Utkarsh.
Yeah. So hello everyone. My name is Utkarsh, and I'm a second year ICA student. Apart from that, I'm also a member of DSC, NIT Jalandhar. So today we would be covering. First of all, let me share my screen. Yeah. So today we would be covering many topics in JavaScript, like how we would be writing conditionals in JavaScript, how we would be using the local storage, how would we manipulating and accessing the elements of the DOM, and many more things. So without further ado, let's get started. And also one thing I would like to mention is you have to download one more JavaScript that extension named JavaScript ES6 code snippet. So you have to write JavaScript ES6 code snippet, and this is the one extension I would like to mention you should download, because it's very handy when it comes to writing in JavaScript. Like it would give you the correct uh, that code and auto completion features. So yeah, I would like to add this code snippet to the that browser. Sorry, yeah, your VS Code. So without further ado, let's get started. So what are conditionals in JS? Yeah. So uh, suppose you are a developer and you want a certain statement to be rendered only when your one condition is being fulfilled. Yeah. Suppose you are designing a form. So you wouldn't like that if somebody hasn't mentioned the complete details or hasn't filled all the data, would get the access to the further steps of filling the form. Yeah. So that's where conditional statement get in use. So conditional statement are used to perform action based in different conditions, right? So this is the basic syntax of conditional statement. It is almost similar to what we have studied in C++, if you have. So uh, it its syntax states that if we have condition in the bracket, so if this condition holds good, so this block would be executing, and this block would contain multiple statement, like what is the logic of what you want to print or what you want to get executed. And if not this, if this condition isn't fulfilled, so this else block would be executed. So the condition, an expression that is considered to be true or falsy. Yeah. So this is, I think this is clear. And statement one, if condition holds good, then statement one gets executed. If statement two, if condition holds good, then statement two gets executed. Yeah. So let's look at one of the example I have written in VS Code. I think my VS Code is visible. So this is a basic
Yes, yes.
structure. Yeah. So this is the basic structure of my app that I am building. So I have a simple HTML page, and in that I have included the script at the very bottom of the body. So this is index.js, and this all three files should be in the same folder. So conditional statement in JS. Yeah. So I have written one code. So suppose there's a so here's I have declared a variable named const a equal to 4, and if a is less than 10, then console log a is less than 10, and else console log a is greater than 10. So I suppose this is clear that a would be less than 10, and this statement would be executed. So let's go to our server, our web page, starting live server, and you should be opening the console using the key bindings of Control Shift and I. Also, you can use the right click and inspect the element, and your web console would be opened, and Chrome DevTools would be open, and in that Chrome DevTools, you would be getting the console. So you can see here that, sorry. So you can see that our first statement is executed, that is a is less than 10. So you can see the first statement is executed. Yeah. So I think if else is statements are clear. So if any doubts, you can ask in the chat. If Are there any doubts? I guess there aren't any. So let's get to the functions in JS. So everything comes with a y in it. So that's so in function also you should ask why we have designed a function or why we had function in any language. Yeah. So suppose there is a case when you want uh, to add two numbers, multiply two numbers, and subtract two numbers. Yeah. So if it would be two numbers, then you would write that console.log a plus b, console.log a minus b, and console.log a into b. Yeah. But the case goes very so this situation gets very uh, dangerous when there are hundreds and thousands of that statement to be written. Yeah. uh, Suppose we have thousands and two thousands of pairs to be added, subtracted, and multiplied. Yeah. So for that, to reduce that effort of writing three lines, we have designed function. So in JavaScript, we have the that the syntax of function as we have a function keyword that should be provided at the very start of writing function, and after that comes the function name. That is that could be anything like the what function performs, or the name of mine or name of yours. Yeah. So after that, in brackets come the parameter. So parameters are something like a variable that should be replaced by this and this the number, and uh, that would be handy in calculating the logic of the that function. Yeah. So and in the body of the function, this is in the curly braces comes the body or the logic, you say. So in that we have a return statement that returns the actual answer, right? That would be more clear when we would be writing code. So let's see a simple definition of what function is. So function are one of the fundamental building blocks of JavaScript. A function is similar to a procedure, a set of statements that perform a task or calculate a value. Yeah. So writing a function comes with two tasks, that is function declaration and function invocation or function calling. Yeah. So this would be clear when we would be writing code. So let's get into the VS Code and write a simple function. So we would be writing a simple function to add two numbers. Yeah. And also I would like to mention that this is the we would be commenting in JavaScript the two backslashes. So yeah. So we have a function keyword that is reserved to a JavaScript, and after that comes the function name that we would be using to call the function. Yeah. And in the brackets we would be having the parameters that is replaced by the number when we would be calling, so as to return the correct result. So in the braces, curly braces, comes our logic. So the logic is fairly fine that we have to add a function. So it would be a plus b. So let's call this function, and this whole thing is known as function definition in technical terms. And we are console logging our the result in the console by passing a values of 2 and 5. So I think this is clear that it would give the result of 7. Yeah. So you can see the result is 7. So Yeah, that's all about function. So there are many ways we can write a function. Suppose I want to write a function, so I can use either this way, the simpler way, like function and function name, after that parameters and the return statement, or else I can use const add numbers. That would be the name of the function, and comes the equal sign and a bracket, where would be passing our parameters that are a and b. Yeah, and after that we have to write a arrow. So we would be writing arrow using equal to and that greater than sign. Yeah, and after that we would be writing a curly braces. So this is a simpler way to write a function. So in the logic we would be writing return. So you can see I am writing just return ret, and it is suggesting me what all can be the possibilities. So I would be selecting return, and I would be passing a plus b. Yeah. So I guess this is giving the same answer as 7. So yeah, this is also giving the same answer as 7. Yeah. So these are the two ways we could be declaring a function. So let's get on to the next slide. That is, any doubts still here? Any doubts? Anything which is not clear? Okay, I guess everything is clear, and I am moving forward. So yeah, so the next topic is the local storage. So let's get an example and see how what is the use of the local storage, why we are using local storage, and why it is in JavaScript. Yeah. So suppose you are a developer, and you are you are making a form. I guess you all have made a form in previous sessions. So you are making a form, and to enhance the experience, you are suppose there is a situation when we are filling the form and the internet connectivity goes down. Yeah, there can be a situation. So what we have filled is gone, and we have to start from the very beginning, from the very zero. So to prevent those, what developers do is that they store the values uh, as we fill the form into the local storage, or say the local storage is somewhat reserved memory to the browser. Yeah, and that memory is not erased when our internet connection goes down, or you refresh the page. Yeah, so that's is local storage. So we will be seeing the definition. So local storage is a way to store data on client's computer. So as I said, local storage is saving data onto the client's computer. And the advantage of local storage is that it will still be in the memory even when you close the browser. So even if you close the browser, it wouldn't be erased after suppose a year or so. Yeah. So if somebody visit that page, the saved information did persist and and is not lost. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, the information isn't lost. So the next key point to mention is that the information are stored in the form of key value pair. So I repeat, the information are stored in key value pair. I would be telling what are key value pair. So and the next point is key and oblique values are stored in the form of string. So every key and values are converted to string and then are stored in the local storage. So let's go into the VS Code and see what is the key value pair and what is the local storage. Yeah. So I would be declaring a variable using const. So it would be an object. So I am declaring obj, and after that I would be using curly braces, and in those curly braces I would be writing key, that is suppose name, and after that I will be providing the value by providing this colon. You can see this colon. Yeah. So in the double quotes I will be providing the name, and after that I we have to provide a comma, and there comes the next key value pair. So this is the single key value pair. So in the object we can have multiple key value pairs. So I will be writing my roll number, so yeah. So this is a way we can store a values in store data in key value pairs. Yeah. So let's see how it looks in the console. So yeah, you can see we have the same thing in the console. Name as Utkarsh and roll number as 1910609. So suppose I want a particular value to be printed from that key value pair. Yeah. So suppose I want only my name to be printed. Yeah. So what we do is that we would be using dot after object obj, the name of the object, and we would be writing the key which we corresponding to the value which we want to print. Yeah. So in this our case we would like to print name. So see, we have only Utkarsh has been printed. So yeah, that's all about object. So I'm commenting, and let's get in onto the local storage. So the values in local storage are saved in the form of key value pairs. You would be seeing the syntax how you will be storing the local storage. So suppose I want my name and roll number to be stored in the local storage. Yeah, two entities. So we would be writing local storage dot set item. So you can see the that extension which I have told you to download is suggesting some suggesting what are the syntax of the set item. So the first parameter which it receives is the key which we want to save in the local storage. Yeah. So in our case we are providing name. It should be in the double quotes. I'm repeating that, and after that it is the second parameter which it receives after this comma is Utkarsh, that is the value corresponding to this key, that is name. So the second entity which we want to save in the local storage is the email ID. these are the two entities which we want to save in the local storage. So let's get and see where is the local storage in the browser and where we could be accessing it. So you have to open the Chrome DevTools, and in that Chrome DevTools, you have to go to the applications, and in the applications you would be seeing there was an entity I have saved earlier. So local storage. So you can see there are two entities which we have saved using these two lines. Yeah. So you can see the first one is the name corresponding to the value. We have Utkarsh, and email, that is the email. So these are the ways we can save in the local storage the entities. So the next command or the function which we are going to get is the so the first one was the set item that we have seen in the that VS code, and the second one is the get item. So get what does this get item do is it retrieves a value by key. So we have to provide a key, and corresponding to that key, it would be retrieving the value from the local storage. Yeah. So let's see. So suppose I want my name to be printed onto the console. Uh, so I would be using console.log, and in that I would be providing. So this console.log is only just for printing in the console. Yeah. So don't get confused. So in this brackets, I would be providing local storage dot get item, and you can see we have a beautiful suggestion given by that extension that returns the current value associated with the given key, or null if the given key does not exist in the list associated with the object. Yeah. So what we have to provide is the key corresponding to which we are searching the value. Yeah. So I would be providing the name, same as here. Yeah. So you can see in the console, it's printed Utkarsh. Yeah. Uh, I can also provide email. So it would be printing the email in the console. You don't have to bother about these warnings. These are all the warnings of the Chrome extension. So I think this wouldn't come in your browser. So any doubts still here? Please do ask in the chat. So let's move further. So the next function associated with the local storage is the remove item. So it removes the item by key. Yeah. So let's see in the browser VS Code. So suppose I do not want this name and Utkarsh to be saved in the that local storage. Yeah. So what I would be doing is that I would be removing from the local storage. So to do that, I will be writing local storage dot remove item, and I will be providing the key corresponding to which I want the value to be removed. Yeah. So the whole entity gets removed. So I will be providing the name, and after after that I could let's see in the that local storage is, if it is there. So you can see earlier we have the name and email, but now it's only the email which is there. Yeah. So the name entity, name and name key value pair is being removed by the command remove item. Yeah. So suppose I want my local storage to be clear. That is, all the entities are in the that are present in the local storage should be removed. Yeah. So what I would be writing is local storage dot clear. So you must have seen that earlier I have written before this line, these two lines, local storage dot clear, because earlier I have saved one entity in the local storage and that persisted because I haven't used this command after that. Yeah. So I will be saving this file and let's see what is the present in the local storage. So you can see here is that the local storage is almost clear and no entity is there. Yeah. So you cannot access any name or email further. Yeah. So let's, any doubts still here? Any doubts, if any? So yeah, I think there isn't any doubt. So let's move on to what is DOM. Yeah. So we have earlier in the that web development session we have written our HTML and to create our website and style using CSS. But we haven't interacted our JavaScript with the elements that is present in the local that HTML file. Yeah. Like what happens when we click this button, or what happens when we write this something in the text area or input field. Yeah, you must be wondering about that. So there comes the role of the that DOM. Yeah. So let's first see the definition of the DOM, and it's the most important concept that should that you must all know for writing a fair that a good front end website. So the definition says that the DOM is a data representation of the object that comprises the structure of document of the on the web. So the DOM is a program interface for HTML document. So these are all the bookish language. So let's break this document or DOM into three parts, that is document object model, and see what the DOM is. So you all must know that document is anything like a PDF document or like HTML file, like JPG file, like PNG file. Yeah. So all these are document. So I think document is clear, and in the context of web development, the document is the HTML file which we have written. Yeah. So next is the object. So what is object? So in context of DOM, object is anything which you put inside this HTML document, right? So suppose you put the head tag, the title tag, the paragraph tag. So all this thing that I write that you all are writing in the HTML file is the object. right? So next comes the model. What is model? So model is just as you structure your web elements, right? So suppose you want your heading at the top, so you included a heading at the very top of the body, in the body. Then thereafter comes the image, and so on. Thereafter comes the paragraph and so on. So this hierarchical structure that is forming in the HTML file is the nothing but the model. Yeah. So this is DOM, and it represents the page so that program can change the document style and the content. Yeah. So this is nothing but the HTML page, so that we could interact our JavaScript with the web, the elements that we have written in the HTML, and manipulate them or style them. Yeah. So next point is, a web page is a document. This document can be either displayed in the browser window or as a HTML source. So I think this statement is quite clear. So uh, so this you all must be thinking what this diagram is. So this is nothing but the how you structure your web elements in the HTML file. Yeah. So the first level is the window, that is the browser's window that is present here. Uh, After that comes the document. So the document is the HTML page we have written. Yeah. So in that come HTML page, and in the HTML we have head and body. So you all have written the HTML, basic HTML, and in that HTML you have provided the head and the body. So that is all the head and the body is. In the head we have title and meta tags, and in the body we have h1 to h oblique h6 image, paragraph, buttons, and so on. So this is nothing but the DOM representation that is here represented as diagram. So let's see how we could be extracting our elements using DOM, using JavaScript. So the first and the foremost thing is to console.log the document, what the document object is. Yeah. So let's go into the browser, VS Code, and let's comment this. And so the first one is console.log document. Let's see in the browser. So you can see as I hover over this document, the whole page get highlighted. Yeah, you can see that. So this document is nothing but the HTML file which we have written. Yeah, the head, the body. Yeah. So this is the HTML file which we have written, and this could be easily extracted using console.log the document. So suppose I have a heading, and you all must be familiar with the IDs in the class that we provide in the JavaScript, that HTML. So the one thing that we use is that styling using this grabbing by ID, and another use of this ID is we grab the whole element, right? The whole element using the JavaScript, uh, using this ID name, the heading. So this is the thing I have done here. So const heading, I have declared a heading variable, and in that I have provided the syntax, the document dot get element by ID. So this first command is get element by ID. So what does it do is that it grabs the whole element, that is the heading h1, this whole element as a HTML, and that it saves in the heading, that the variable which we have used here. So let's console this. So you can see that we have grabbed the whole HTML tag, h1 tag, which we have written in the HTML using JavaScript. Yeah, you can see that. So let's move further. And so suppose I want we have the text in between those heading is the welcome to JavaScript. So suppose I want this welcome to JavaScript to be playing with JavaScript, or let's learn JavaScript. Yeah. So let's uncomment and understand what it does. So it grabs the, so I have the heading, and in that heading are the multiple methods that help us to manipulate the element that is heading in here. And after that I have a inner HTML. So what it does is it grabs the text that we have provided here. Yeah. So the text I have provided, but I am overwriting it to let's learn JavaScript. Yeah. So let's see what it does do in the browser. So you can see earlier we have welcome to JavaScript, and now we have let's learn JavaScript. Yeah. So we have successfully manipulated our JavaScript, our HTML element using JavaScript, right? So moving forward, so next come is the how we could style those element using JavaScript. So literally you could do anything using JavaScript. You can create those elements using JavaScript. You can insert the element in the right in the HTML file using JavaScript. So yeah. So next is the that I have here. I have written heading dot style dot color. So what it does is it would be providing color of red to the inner HTML, that is let's learn JavaScript. Yeah. So let's save and see in the browser. So you can see that our earlier it was black, and now we have changed our color to red. Yeah, you can see that. So using just a simple line, you can change a color from anything. Yeah. So so there are multiple methods associated with the this element in the JavaScript. So you can learn from the MDN docs. I will be providing the links in the Discord server. So yeah, so the next method that is that we're gonna discuss is we will be creating element using JavaScript. Yeah. So this is the syntax that is for creating the JavaScript. So we would be using document dot create element, and you can see it creates the element. It's written here, creates an instance of element for the specified tag. So in the curly braces, brackets, we have to provide the type of tag or the element which we are gonna make using JavaScript, right? So I am commenting. This is the general syntax. So this is the main code. So in this, I have const para. I have made a variable, and I am making a paragraph tag using document.create element, and in the brackets I am providing the type of tag which we're gonna make, right? So let's console.log para and see what it prints. You can see that a paragraph tag is being printed. So this states that we have that successfully created a paragraph tag using JavaScript. right? So, but we haven't anything into the that in between those paragraphs, right? So to insert the text or the main text in the paragraph or the element which you have created, we use paragraph.inner.html, which we have studied earlier, and we would be writing, let's have some fun with JavaScript, right? So let's see what happens. First, let me console. You can see we have paragraph tag, and in between those tags we have the text which we have written using JavaScript, right? So yeah, that's all about creating element. But we have created element, and we have manipulated element. But what if we want to append those element into the HTML file, right? We have created, but we're gonna use, right? So for that property, we are gonna use the function name append child, right? So append child. So let's have a syntax of append child. So using this command code line, I am grabbing the body of the document. This thing, what is inside this body, right? So I am grabbing those. So in the variable body, I have all the content of the body. So the main thing comes here. I want to append the paragraph tag that I have created into my body. So appending means adding the element to the ending of the body or the thing in the element you want to insert. So and this body could be replaced by any div tags or any paragraph tag in between, right? So we are appending the paragraph tag into uh, the body, right? So you can see it's printed here. Let's have some fun with JavaScript. So we have successfully appended a HTML element using the JavaScript, right? So isn't it exciting? Right.
Indeed.
Yeah. So the next,
Hello.
yeah.
Oh,
Hello?
okay. Continue.
Okay. So we have in the next the fourth function as adding a event listener. So suppose I want a button tag to function. So I have in button here, but what's this function, right? So to add a logic, we have a event listener that would be listening to the events, like we have click event, we have mouse hover event, like we have mouse enter event, mouse out event, and many events in the JavaScript you can learn in the by writing, just by googling it out, right? So first and the foremost thing that we're gonna do is we are grabbing the button that I have in here, like button with ID, and in between those it's written click me, right? So I'm grabbing that button. So I'll be writing the function. So so the first line, so the syntax looks something like this. So you have to write the element that you gonna add the event to, and after that add event listener, and so see I have provided just simple quotes, and it gave me all the events that are present in the JavaScript, right? So we're gonna use the click, and after that we have the function, right? You can see here So this is a function that is executed when we click the button. So so let's write a function keyword, and we could either provide the name of function or we could skip. So I am skipping those and providing brackets and curly braces. So in between these lines, I am having my all my logic that would be executed when I click on the button, right? So suppose I want, uh, let's suppose I have declared a variable name where a equal to 1, or a or number, right? So uh, first thing that would be executed when we click this is number equal to number plus 1. So what I am doing here is that I am incrementing the number here to by 1, and also I am logging it out in the console, right? So you can see, our console is clear, and when I click, the number 2 get printed because I have declared a as 1 and number as 1, and when I click it is incrementing by 2 and printing. So you can see 2 is printed. When I again click, 3 is printed. When I again click, 4 is printed. So yeah, you can do anything using this event listener. There are multiple event listener you could find in the you could all find in the by googling it out. So I think I am ahead of time, and without further ado, I would be handing over the session to Anubhav so that he would be making the project for this e-commerce website, right?
Thank you, Kars. It was a nice thing that you explained all the functions really well. So
Yeah.
I'll request everyone. I hope you have all made the CSS file for the day 2. Please open it up in VS Code. And I'm sharing my screen meanwhile. So what we are planning to make today, is my screen visible? Can anyone tell me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's visible.
Okay, thank you. So what we are planning to make today is something like this. This is something that we have prepared last time. I hope I am correct, right? Please respond the chat box. I think yes, you have made this thing. So what we'll be adding to this part today is this thing. Like we click on the part product, and the product will be added to the cart. We click on this, it will be added to the cart. We can increase the quantity of the product, something like that. We will be making this thing. And on checkout, you have been provided with a form on the day 2 as a homework to style this. I have not styled it, so I think let's try something like this. I have some TPS with JS. Mail.com. I am a dummy ID for the testing. So mail sent successfully. So I would have received the email here that my order is confirmed, something like this. We'll be making this today. So let's hop into the VS Code. So this is the day to CSS file that you have made. I hope all of you are having it. So we have added this. We have added this snippet. This is a table. So table has got the ID card. This is just a minute. This is the typo here. Yes. Style visibility is hidden. Width is 100%. So we have table head. It has product, price, quantity, total, and delete. And these things can be seen as, just a minute. product, price, quantity, total, delete, plus and minus. Okay, plus, minus, product, price, and quantity. These are all headings, and rest is the table body. The table body has been given the ID card body. We will be manipulating this in JavaScript, just like Utkarsh has told you. So we'll go ahead and include a new file into a folder called cart, which is the JavaScript file. This is the script cart.js, and we'll be making a new file here in the source code. New file in the same directory, cart.js. Okay, so this is our new file. Let me show you where it has been stored. Like we have the source code of the day 3 here. Yes, so this is the day 2 HTML that we have made this part. This does not work right now, but we'll be making it functional with JavaScript. And we have the cart.js file here. So first of all, what we'll be doing is we'll be declaring a variable called cart, where cart equals to a list or an array in JavaScript. Then we'll be using something like window.onload. This thing will execute on the loading of the window. Like when we refresh or when the window initially loads, first thing will be executed is the line number 3 equals to function. I can give any name. I'm giving loaded. Then we'll be using local storage if we have cart present in a local storage storage.cart. If cart is present in local storage, this if block will be executed, else this will not be executed. We'll doing cart equals to json.parse. So I think Utkarsh missed this part. Whenever we store something in local storage, it is stored in form of a string. But to make it in form of a dictionary or JSON, we have to use this json.parse. Then we'll be passing local storage cart. Okay. So what will be happening? We are getting the cart from local storage and converting it to a JavaScript object so that we can apply some operations on it. And then we'll be calling a function called showCart. SH showCart. Okay. And now if we do not have the local storage, if we do not have local storage cart, what we are going to do is we'll do document dot get element by ID checkout button dot style dot visibility equals to hidden. So what this thing did is, like I have this checkout button. Okay, if I have nothing in my cart, the checkout button will also not be shown. Something like this. We do not have checkout button here right now. See, this checkout button will be hidden using JavaScript. So now we'll be adding a function called function add to cart. Okay, so this is add to cart. We are passing ID, comma, name of the product, comma, price as a parameters that we are going to storing in the local storage. Then we have just a second variable. So what we'll be doing is we'll be declaring variables. Just we'll be searching for where I in cart in the scope of the for if cart I dot id equals to id. What we'll be doing, we'll be doing cart I dot id. Just a minute. Cart dot quantity. QTY quantity, because we will be updating the quantity of the product plus equals to 1. Now we'll be calling two more functions called save cart, and we'll be writing writing the logic of these functions later in the later part, and show cart. Okay, something like this. And now we'll be returning from the function. Yes. So now we are creating a JavaScript item, the object where item equals to its ID is the ID that we are getting from the local storage. Product is the name of the product. I have defined the name, I guess, yes. Just a minute. Yes. Name, and I'll have price of the item, and then we have quantity QTY. These things, the things on the left hand side are these things on the left hand side are going to be saved in the local storage. That's why we are accessing these here. And the things on the right hand side are coming from the function add to cart, this ID, name, and price. Okay. What we'll be doing now is we'll be using cart dot push. See, the cart is a list of things. List it looks like this, with elements, something like this. So what we are doing is we are pushing our new element or new product here. Cart dot push item. Okay. Now we'll doing save cart, because we want to save the cart in the local storage, and then we'll be doing show cart. You need not to go along with me. I'll be providing the source code to you. All you have to do is to understand the things that how we are going to work with this. Okay. So now we are going to do is we are going to write this function save cart. FUNC function save cart. Okay. And now what are we going to do is if window dot local storage, if the browser is permitting to use the local storage, what are we going to do is local storage dot cart equals to JSON dot stringify, because local storage is always storing a string. So we will be converting our object to the string, and we are storing the array here. Okay. Now we will be writing a function called function show cart. This is a little bit tricky part, so please be all eyes and all ears here. Function show cart. So in the logic is we have cart dot length. Dot length means the length of the cart, means number of items in the cart. If the cart is empty, what are we going to do? We are going to do this document. Please, if you have any doubts, you can ask here. Any doubts up till now? Okay, I think we are good to go. So in the function show cart, we're doing document dot get element. We are grabbing the element by its ID. dot style dot visibility equals to, okay, because if our cart is empty, we do not want the basic structure of the cart to be shown. This is the logic behind this line. We'll be doing same for the checkout button. Document dot get element by id checkout button dot style dot visibility. We are actually modifying the style attribute, that is visibility, of the checkout button, and we are setting it to hidden. We are hiding the stuff if the cart is empty. Now else, what we'll be doing is we'll do document dot get element by id cart dot style dot visibility equals to visible. We want our cart to be visible. Okay. We want same for the checkout button. So I'll copy this, I'll paste it here and change this to visible. Okay. And the next thing that I'll be doing is, see, now here I have two things. This is the table, which is my cart. This is my cart. Okay. And this is my cart body. In HTML, if we see, here's my live. This is my live example. So this thing is the table, and the stuff in here, the P3, this part is called cart body. Okay, so we are going to populate this cart body with JavaScript. Let's see how it is done. This is the T body, cart body. We'll be populating this using cart.js. Just a minute. Which file was I working? Okay, this is the file I was working with. So now what I will do is I'll do document dot get element by id cart body. I'll have to make sure the spelling matches. Dot inner HTML equals to an empty string. Now then I use a for loop for with a variable I or anything in cart where item equals to cart. So cart is an array of objects. So we are grabbing each item of the cart using this for loop, and then we are doing something like this: document dot get element by id cart body dot inner HTML equals to, and this is going to be long string. We are actually adding inner HTML with the pre-existing inner HTML. Okay, this long string here. So I'm doing a shortcut. I'll copy the string right away. Okay, I'm very lazy. So what we have done here is, you can see, just let me delete these two lines right now. Oh, so we are adding rows in the table. So this is a table, this is a table, and we are adding these rows, horizontal rows in the table using the JavaScript. So we are adding item product because we are adding the item name. This like P3, P2, these are item names. Then we are adding the item price. then item quantity dot item price, the total price, and the item quantity. Then we are adding the buttons to delete item with the function on click. So now we'll move to the source code file. Here we have used the cards, like you might have done this on day 2. We have buttons. On clicking the button, we have to call the JavaScript function. These are the buttons, and when I'll click this button, I'll have to call a JavaScript function that will add this product to the cart as well as the local storage. So like I am clicking this button and the product is getting added to the cart like this. Just select. Okay, so on click, what we are passing is one is the ID of the product, like first product, second product, third product. The unique IDs of the product, like each product on Amazon must also have a unique ID. Then the name of the product, like product 1, product 2, and the cost of the product, the price of the product. Okay, so when we press this button, add to cart, the file will search for the function in the JavaScript, and here we have this function add to cart. Here what will happen is, for I in cart, if cart.id exists, if my product exists, just a minute, demonstrate this, like P1, I'll click P1. If it is already in cart, then it will update its quantity. Cart quantity equals to cart quantity plus 1. Like if it is already in cart, I'm pressing cart this button, the quantity is getting updated. You can see this. Click, and it's getting updated. Okay. Just a minute. Yes. And if it is not in the cart item gets pushed into cart. Like if I'm pressing this will get added to the cart. So this is the basic functionality of the cart that we have learned. Now to make these buttons, the plus and minus buttons, we'll have to write 2 more functions. Those are okay. So we have 2 more functions. Function subtract from cart, and we are passing the ID, the unique ID, because ID is unique and we can identify the product from that ID. What we are doing is cart I dot qty quantity. So we are subtracting 1 from the quantity. Now we are also doing if, just a minute, we are doing if cart dot qty equal to 0, because if quantity is equal to 0, I'll have to stop it. Otherwise what will happen is the quantity will go on reducing, it will go to negative. So it will be a failure of the logic that I am going to apply. What I'll call is delete item. So this will delete the item from the cart by passing the same thing. We'll have to write this function also. Okay, then we'll doing what we'll be doing is we'll doing same thing, save cart and show cart. Then we'll return. Okay, now I'll have to write a function delete item. Function, just a minute, I think I messed it up. Function delete item, I'm passing same I. Now part dot splice I comma 1. What this is doing, this is deleting that item from the cart. Because cart is an array of objects, we are finding that specific object in that array and deleting it from the array. And now what we'll be doing is same thing. We'll save the cart in the local storage and show the cart to the user, and we'll return. So I'll copy these 2 things. So this is the delete item. We can repeat same thing for the increment part. Like we are using the plus button in the cart for multiple products. This is the same code. Let me make some space. I'll change the name here. The name goes increment cart. And there is this. So I think we have completed the cart. This all the functioning of the cart has been added. Let's see in the local storage and analyze the stuff. Let me reload this page and get these things. So this is the console. This is the console. This is the application, and I'm in the local storage. So when I am clicking on the part, I click on the product. Product is getting added into the cart, and what happens is this thing gets stored in the local storage. ID 1, product P1, price 0, quantity 1, price 250, quantity 1. If I'm adding if I'm clicking on the plus button, the plus button will call this same function and the quantity will get updated here. You see this? Okay, it will get updated. If I delete this, this will get cleared. This is how local storage in JavaScript works. Now the next part is to send email to the user for order confirmation. The same thing that can be done is using the form. This form was provided to you in the day 2 session for some practice of styling. I hope you have styled it, but I haven't. So I am including this script thing. Script source equal to smtps.com/v3.smtps. This is some sort of a API. We will be sending requests to the API for sending the email, and it will send the email for us. We just have to specify some content for the email. So I'll be sharing this in the chat box. Here. And all the source code of this session will be provided in the GitHub repository. Here, just go to the intro to web dev, day 3, source code, and you have all the files, the card.js and email.js. So I'm also sending this to you. Have a note here. This will also be shared on WhatsApp. Okay, so let's move on and send the email. So this is the email.js function, the file. So this is the form here. We are including email.js. And now see here, we have final email, client email, some variables defined here. What is the main logic is when the person will press the button, confirm order, it will call this function called my function. And in the my function, we'll be getting all the data from the form. Like string, we are converting that data into a string. Document.getElement by ID, first name. So here is ID equals to first name, and we are getting this data into the form dot value, because everything that we are feeding into the form. Just a minute, let me go to Chrome. This is a form. This is the checkout form. This thing, whatever we fill here, that is stored in this part, the value part, this part. So we are getting the data from the value. We are collecting all the data. Then we are preparing the order part. How are we preparing the order part? We are getting the local storage and parsing it into JSON object. We are getting the local storage, that is a string, that is a character array, that is a string, and we are passing it into a JSON object, that is something like a dictionary, something like key value pairs, as Utkarsh explained. Okay, so now we are doing this. This is something messy but quite easy to understand. See this. Let I equal to 0 and I less than order dot length. So order is an character array, order is an object array. So until the last element of array, the loop will be running. So total equals to order I dot price star quantity, total plus. This is finding the total, because just a minute, like we have these things in the cart. This is doing is quantity and price are getting multiplied and added to the total to calculate the total amount that user has to pay. Okay, so this is something like we are making a string h2.name and we are appending things here. This is just also making a HTML string that has to be sent on the mail. The main function is here. we are calling send email function for the client email as well as the personal email. Using this, both of the people, like you will also get to know about the order that you have placed, and the client will also get to know about the order that has been placed. The host name is smtp.gmail.com username, and this is the app password. You can generate app password for your email ID using Gmail. Google provides this function. Like if I go to the settings part of my email, just a minute. If I go to settings part, manage my Google account, I can search here app password, and I can generate an app password here. Okay, so this is the app password, and these are like to and receivers. To receiver is coming from here, and from smtp with js at gmail.com, and we have subject, body, and content. Then we'll using this alert, the mail sent successfully. This is the pop-up message that appears on the website. Let me show you. Like when I check out, I'll fill the credentials. Okay, just a minute, I did a mistake. There is email. Email has to be filled correctly. Then I'll confirm the order. Okay, this is the pop-up that has been generated by this code. Alert mail sent successfully. Okay, okay, and this sends me an email. All the source code has been provided to you, and I think we are done with the session for today. I hope you have got some insight of web development. Feel free to ask your questions before we wrap up.
Any doubts, anyone?
Hello guys. We understand. I think it's first time JavaScript is like quite heavy and people don't get it.
Yes, it
Okay.
was just an introduction to the JavaScript.
Yeah. So पहली बार में like most of the लोगों को तो समझ भी नहीं आता है, तो it's okay if you don't get it in the very first time. It's okay.
Yeah, you will be getting familiar with when you write some code with yourself. So don't felt overwhelmed right now. You'll
Okay.
be getting slowly.
And this is the script that we have written. This is the part.js. All the functions I explained, I think it's all clear. And so this is the form. Let's review what we have done. And we have this part. And what is the what more modification we can do here? Just a minute. Okay, so this is a web page. Okay, so once a person places an order, we do not want that order to be on front end. Like we do not, front end is something that everyone can see. Like I have my app password. This is something very secure. This is something that has to be kept secure. Otherwise, people will manipulate this. But if we inspect element and we read the page source, just a minute. Like uh, I go to the form button. I go to checkout button. I view page source. Okay, and I go here email.js. Whole file will get open to me, and I'll be able to see the app password. So this is a very big security breach. To avoid these type of things, we do dynamic websites. What a dynamic website does is it collects the data, encrypts the data using some algorithms, like converts it into code that users can't understand, and that is sent to the server. Server will do the processing at the back end and return the results to the front end. In this way, we can hide the essential components of our website. Because if I want to place an order and I don't want to pay the amount, what I can do is I can go here. Just a minute. This part I can go here. I can go to the source. I can redeploy this copy and send the order. with less price or something like that. I can manipulate everything on front end of a website, but I cannot change something that is back end as a user. So that's why we have dynamic websites. That is something that you have to explore and learn about after you are good with these front end parts. I think we are clear with the doubts. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask now. Like any general discussion or any doubt regarding something that you have missed or something like that. Please put it up in the chat box. I think we are clear with the doubts. So thank you all. Thank you for attending the session. We are going to wrap up now. It was a great time teaching web development to you. Thank you, Utkarsh and Shubham.
Yeah, thank you. So
Yeah.
I guess
Joining us. Right.
Yes.
yes. So we expect something great from you all in the coming hackathon. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us and ask your queries, if not in here, and also do participate in the hackathon. It would be a great learning, uh, and you would be interacting with the industry professionals, and also you would be getting some exciting opportunities like internship or if you perform well. And yeah, that's all from this session. So should we end this session, Ankur?
Yes, thank you all. Thank you for being here. Stay creative.
Yeah.